hosted by IIA India Student Development Committee. The idea of holding this session is that in India, as an internal auditor, though we are having this position and the job descriptions are available for this, however, there is no set course or any qualification which is available in India. At IIA India, we are having two different qualifications. One is IAP, for which you are here to understand how it works and how much time it takes. Nikhel sir will take you to explore all the options. If you have any queries, you can write it in the chat box. Nikhel sir will answer all these queries. So when it comes to IAP, it is a base program for which you can, post that you can take up the next qualification, which is CIA. It's a ladder to the bigger qualification. So to start the session, I request Nikhil sir to take the session on this. Just give me a brief introduction of Mr. Nikhel Kochhar. He is the Chief Advisor of IIA India. He is a qualified chartered accountant and CIA, graduated from Delhi University and Doon School alumni with experience of over 39 years. Presently, he is the senior partner at JHS and Associates, which is having office pan-India. And he's the independent director at Pyramid Cybersecurity INC. He's the Doon School Old Boys Society and chaired the finance subcommittee on the board of various companies and the member of Indian Public Schools Society. Over to you, Nikhil sir, for the very insightful session. Looking forward for a valuable inputs from you, how we can actually, anybody can take the career to the next level with this IAP program.
Thank you, Sana, for your kind words and your kind introduction. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good evening to all participants. Happy to see that we have close to 70 participants already. We had about 144 registrations. So sorry, 55. So let's hope we will have a few more people coming on. Today's session is basically on the Internal Audit Practitioner program. I think this is something, as Sana has rightly mentioned, it's a great first step in the ladder towards becoming a certified internal auditor, and as well as to gain more knowledge as to what is internal audit all about, how important is it within the overall ambit of GRC, which is governance, risk and controls, all of which are a part of the definition of internal auditing as taken out by the Institute of Internal Auditors, which is actually a global body. We have, I think, over 218,000 members across 170, more than 170 territories and countries across the world. So it's truly a global organization, and the certifications are also global in nature. So the advantage of doing, whether it is the IAP or the CIA, is that you basically have something which is acceptable as a global standard certification across the world. And of course, some of us are also interested in going abroad, in finding work abroad. Certainly those of you who have such aspirations will definitely find that because of the global recognition which IIA certifications receive, it definitely also helps to open doors on a global basis for those interested in internal audit, governance, risk and controls. So what is this program all about? Basically, sorry, I'll just shift this. So it is offered, as I told you, by the IIA, and it demonstrates that you have foundational knowledge of the IPPF, as well as the standards for the professional practice of internal auditing. The IPPF stands for the International Professional Practices Framework, which of course is pertaining to internal audit. And the standards are for the standards, global standards for the professional practice of internal auditing. So if you do the IAP program, it shows and indicates that you have the foundational knowledge required, as well as you possess a certain aptitude, which is of course tested by the the IAP exam, which takes place. I will of course be spending a little more on that. As you will be reading whilst I'm talking, as I mentioned, you will get to know, have a foundational knowledge about the IPPF, what are the current internal audit practices, issues, risks, controls to address those risks. And this designation helps you to state that you have a certain degree of comfort and knowledge and aptitude as far as these issues are concerned. As earlier mentioned also, it is like a first step in the ladder towards the CIA program, because the basic educational requirements for entering the IAP course are much, much easier to meet up with than for the CIA. Because if you want to go in straight for the CIA program, you would be expected to have a certain degree, a certain amount of internal audit experience. Whereas if you want to do the IAP, you don't even need to have that experience, and you may actually be studying in college. So for those of you who are in or who have friends who are studying in college and want to figure out or have yet to figure out what they want to do later in life, the IAP actually provides a great pathway, because during their college itself, they can sit for this exam, clear the IAP, maybe try to take up internships. And believe you me, the IIA is committed to helping people who are interested in internships to bag internships with companies, with audit firms, which already have internal audit departments or internal audit services being provided as a category of the services being provided by the consulting, assurance, or advisory firm. So, it helps you. You can spend a few months in this particular area, and I'm reasonably confident. But for those of you who are not, it would allow you to take a decision as to whether internal audit is something which is of interest to you, what is the kind of money which you can make on it. But let me assure you that today there is a global shortage of internal auditors. There is a huge shortage of internal auditors even within India. And I think I am a member of some 60 or 70 WhatsApp groups only pertaining to internal audit and the Institute of Internal Auditors. And every day, every second day, you have people who are saying, can you please help us get more internal auditors? And of course, it has a lot of other benefits if you become an internal auditor. However, we'll get to that later, since the focus today is on actually doing a quick review and increasing your knowledge regarding what the IAP is all about. So as I mentioned to you, this program is a great learning base or a starting point for people who are still in college and who may not have the adequate amount of experience to actually register immediately for the CIA. But you also have internal audit professionals, people who joined larger companies, but who may not have work experience in internal audit. So the ones who are starting off within internal audit, if they do the IAP within a very, very short span of time, because I'm sure you could sit for this exam within a couple of months of starting, if you work and prepare for it, within a couple of months, at least you have the basic conceptual knowledge and foundations which require you to apply your mind towards being a better internal auditor. So you have a much better foundation. You have many corporate organizations which have internal audit as a kind of a rotational place. So, people are brought in from different departments. They could be in sales and marketing, they could be in finance and accounts, they may be in technology, they may be in operations, programs, projects, whatever, who are routed through the internal audit department for a couple of years, 2 years or 3 years. And, you know, they have a lot of work experience, but then they don't know so much about internal audit. And since they are not going to be here for more than 2 to 3 years, it really doesn't always make sense for them to invest in a full-fledged CIA certification. So for people like that, if they do the foundational exam and they do the internal audit practitioner exam and clear it, they can actually hit the ground running because their fundas on internal audit are clear. They already have a good knowledge of the business and the different facets of the organization they're already working for. So this helps them get a quick start. They can, as I said, hit the ground running. And of course, as I said, they are also sometimes new internal audit professionals who are working in an internal audit team. So for them also, it is useful to do this so that they get a very quick idea of what internal audit is all about. As you can see from the slide in front of you, the basic requirements are very, very easy to comply with. All you got to do is provide a proper photo ID. It could be a passport, be something which is globally acceptable, could be a driving license. Complete your application for the IAP and provide a character reference, ideally from another CIA Certified Internal Auditor. And I'm sure the institute can help you there. Otherwise, of course, even for the CIA certification, what works is that if you're already working in an organization, you could probably go to your supervisor, immediate supervisor, and ask them, definitely character reference where it can be obtained from is also available in the documentation which is available. But do make sure that you submit it, because if you don't, your application will not be considered complete. So what are the basic program eligibility requirements? We have, as I said, revised the work requirements for candidates. So you do not need to be a graduate with work experience of at least 2 years or a master's with a work experience of 1 year. Even if you are just out, even if you are in college and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, these 2 years, if you can also do your internship during your summer vacations, what you can be rest assured about is by the time you graduate, the chances are you are already employable by the Internal Audit Department of corporates and audit firms. And B, if you've taken a decision to pursue, then of course it also makes sense for you to then start off on the CIA program, because once you've cleared your IAP, it gives you an automatic entry in terms of eligibility for doing the Certified Internal Auditor program. As already mentioned, you must submit a character reference, which could be signed by any of these. As I mentioned to you, these are the certifications which have been offered by the IIA over a period of time. The Certified Internal Auditor, Certified Government Auditing Professional, certification in control self-assessment, financial services, or risk management assurance. Or of course, if you don't know any one of this, you could just go straight to your supervisor also. And candidates must have a proof of identification, which would be in terms of the official, passport or national identity card. So I guess even your Aadhaar card should be good enough, or your PAN card if you have one. But definitely, I think the Aadhaar card has the photocopy photograph, as well as so does the passport. So I think these are what would work ideally. Of course, the documents need to be current as already specified. What is the registration fees? For those of you who are good at numbers, you may have already gone through what is written in front of you. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense for you to become a member of the IIA. If you're a member of the IIA, you could be sitting for this exam for as little as $225. If you're not a member, of course, it could cost you as much as $400. It's not a huge amount of money, but definitely there is a very strong financial case for becoming a member of the IIA. There are multiple additional benefits of becoming a member, but I think I will be speaking about those in a subsequent slide. So, again, as you said, do you have to be a member of the IIA? It's absolutely not necessary, but, I think money counts for all of us and it should count. So, why do you want to spend $400 if you can do the same thing with $225 and application? And by the way, if you're a student, then your membership costs you 50%. So you just have to pay 2,000 rupees for a student membership as on date and maybe 500 rupees for the entrance. Whereas if you were a working professional, you would be paying 4,000 rupees plus 1,500 rupees as a one-time entrance fee for the institute. But if you look at the host of benefits which you get, I mean, I'm sorry, but I have a full slide presentation only on benefits. So I'm not going to be sharing all of those with you in detail. But I'm sure they would also be available if you go on to the deck on IIA, which is available on our IIA India website. But you get discounts in the examination fees, as you saw just now. For the IAP, it's close to 55% of what a non-member would pay. So there is a huge benefit there. But the same thing applies whether you want to sit for any of the other exams of the Institute of Internal Auditors like the CIA. You would definitely get, again, a very, very strong financial benefit over there. And some people who are also, say, for example, if they're already chartered accountants, they're also eligible to sit for the CIA challenge exam. There again, there is close to a 33% benefit for those who are members of the institute. So becoming a member of the institute, as I said, is a no-brainer, but it's not just the exam fee discounts, it's the networking opportunities. You try attending any of our events, thanks to the fact that COVID is now over, we are doing a lot of physical events. So we are having a national conference, which is taking place on the 3rd and 4th of March in Chennai. For those of you who are based out of Delhi or are in a position to come here, we have an ACIIA International Summit. That's the Asian Confederation of the Institutes of Internal Auditors. Which consists of 17 affiliates across the Asia Pacific region, including Japan, Australia, and Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka, India, so in Indonesia. So there are a lot of countries. So, Korea. So, if you get to meet professionals, both from other countries as well as from other companies and organizations, again, the ability to interact, the facility to network, to exchange thoughts and ideas, to learn, because the kind of speakers who come to these organizations and these events which we organize are absolutely phenomenal, world-class professionals, people with diverse experience, expertise. I have always found attending these webinars and seminars to be hugely a learning experience, and I'm sure the same would apply to you as well. You get an access to an absolutely humongous amount of knowledge resources. And definitely, if you're in college, my recommendation would be is take little bits at a time, because there is so much of information. Too much of it together can be a little difficult to digest. But yes, if you know that you have an area of weakness or an area of interest, something where you want to build up your own expertise, and definitely you can be rest assured that there would be a huge amount of information and knowledge-based resources which are available to you. In addition to that, IIA conducts a very large number of learning and development training programs across the year. Some of these are with GTMs or global training modules, as we call them, which are made available to us from the IIA. Those courses are a little more expensive because we have to pay dollar rates to access those. But we also, I mean, I think in the year 21-22, we did something like 75 programs in a year, and more than 50% of those programs are for free. So you can actually get a chance to listen to, experienced professionals with 20 years, 30 years, 15 years of service experience, specialization in specific areas of interest to internal audit or within the areas of governance, risk, and control. So there is a lot of learning, and that learning never really goes waste. So my suggestion is you should look at those opportunities and try to make the most of it. So what do you have to do as far as application is concerned? You just have to complete the application, submit your proof of identification and character reference. And all this happens through the what we call the CCMS, Certification Candidate Management System. Do you need any material to prepare, and how do you access it? So we have interactive study material, which is included in the application fees. So can you imagine that not only are you getting to sit for the exam, but you're also getting access to interactive study material, which consists of 100 questions, self-study course, accessible exclusively on the IIA's global on-demand training. So not only do you have access to that, but since I hope most of you would be members, you may also identify a lot of other resources which are available on our in our libraries, in our knowledge database, in our magazines, all of which are available on the IIA website, both IIA Global as well as IIA India. And I would certainly recommend that you don't just focus on those 100 questions which are given to you, but also look at any other basic material which is there. Not only do we have the standards, and by and large, I want you to know that the standards for the professional practice of internal auditing are all of 20 pages. That is it. If I remove the index, the glossary, abbreviations, etc., the standards are just 20 pages. So read those standards, get an idea of what internal audit is all about. Even practicing professionals, I keep recommending the same thing too. And I suggest that you should go through those at least 2 times in a year, if not more often, so that you are kept familiar with what are the contents. And then you have, of course, you also have practice guides and implementation guides, which tell you how to implement the standard. So if you want to focus on a particular area whilst you're undergoing your internship or whilst you're doing your internal audits, look at something which you're also practicing at the same time, so that you can combine the theoretical knowledge with the practical application. And definitely you will find that you're much, much better off than other people. So I do notice that some people are also raising their hands. If you want, you could ask your questions now, or if you want, we could also adjust, and do a Q&A right at the end. So I'm flexible. So I noticed, what is it? I think I saw. So Swapna, maybe you can unmute yourself. So what have you written? Let me read it out. Swapna has written that considering the present scenario, most of the students fear before enrolling into this course. The major issue is we are getting only limited internship or opportunities when it comes to internal auditing. They just don't consider a graduate having not having prior experience, I suppose, or not yet qualified at any level. So Swapna, I'm not sure where you're located, but my suggestion is that in case you are interested in getting an internship, if you have already enrolled for the IAP, then definitely I think your internship application would also be considered a lot more seriously. So has you want to say something verbally, please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Hi.
Good evening. Yeah, considering the current scenario, no, like as I have applied in many audit firms also, so like what they have suggested me, until and unless you are not qualifying any exam at least level 2, we are not considering you in audit team. As if now you are having experience, but you are not having internal auditing experience. As I have been into accounting and like consultancy firms and some taxation departments only. So till now, no, like it's been like more than 3 months I have been chasing for internship. That's why I haven't got registered, like just because I'm like it's like I'm having a fear. Yeah, what if I'll not be getting internship in any other firm, and
Sure,
at the
sure.
same
I understand your question. So where are you located, Sapna?
in
Swapna?
Gurgaon right now.
You're in Gurgaon. Okay. So if you want a job in Delhi, I'll be happy to offer you an internship. Okay.
Yeah,
So you can get in touch with me through
they
the
are.
website. Otherwise, I mean, and I stand by what I say. You're most welcome to, apply to one of the partners in my firm. But in addition to that, what we can do is if you apply to the Institute of Internal Auditors, say you find it difficult to come to Delhi, you're looking for, what we can do is we can try to find out some of our member firms and put you in touch with them, and hopefully you will be a little more successful. But the IIA is located here to help you to do that. So if you speak to our coordinators, so for example, the coordination manager in Delhi is Chanchal Kumar Mishra. His name and numbers are given on the website. So if you approach him, I mean, we can try to help you to see if something is available within Gurgaon. But what I'm trying to say is wherever we have chapters or we have audit clubs, our job is to help you people to do this and to get an internship. Because if you do an internship and you can clear your IAP, certainly I can assure you that your market value is going to go up. Your employability quotient is also going to go up. Of course, it's quite possible that some firms may say that you need to clear at least one part or two parts of the CIA. There is a reason for it. Actually, the IIA has only recently started promoting and advocating the IAP course. So it is quite possible that a lot of people do not know enough about the IAP, which is why we are conducting this awareness session for your benefit today. So do reach out, and I'm sure we'll be able to help you out, Swapna. All right.
Yeah, okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, okay, since we've taken a break to answer questions, Mandar is asking that can I pay in INR? Mandar, unfortunately not, but you can use your credit card to pay, or in case someone else has credit cards which are, which can make payments in dollar payment, in dollars, you will have to use some such kind of a facility, because this payment of $75 or $150 for the examination, etc., has to be paid directly to IIA Global. The exam is conducted by IIA Global. The program is conducted by IIA Global, but IIA India is here to help you and also to help you find internships for those of you who are interested. So Bhaskar is asking request for the validity period of the IAP certification. So that is a slide, Bhaskar, which I will definitely be coming to, and I'll be happy to share that with you also in probably the next couple of slides. So in the meanwhile, keep your questions coming in, whoever are there and have some information which you want. I'd be more than happy to answer the questions to the best of my abilities. So I've already spoken to you about the interactive material. You will receive an email confirmation once you're approved into the practitioner program, IAP program, and this will include your individual access code with information on how to access the interactive study material. May I also clarify to everyone that sometimes if someone is registered, if you have any questions, if you're facing any kind of difficulties, we have Sandeep Chatterjee, who looks after member services, and his email ID is also given on our website, memberservices@iiindia.co. You could write to Sandeep. He should be in a position to answer your queries. And of course, if you're looking for help, not only in query answering, but also in terms of placements, Chanchal is the right person to talk to because he is in touch with, a lot of the corporates and members which we have, specifically in Delhi. But we also have Mr. Devabrat Goswami, who is in charge of IIA India Corporates Connect and Advocacy Program. So even if you need to get in touch with corporates in other cities and you're looking for an internship, what we will do is we will connect up with our respective, we have chapter coordinators in almost all the chapters, and we will connect with them and request them to see in case they can connect you with different corporates who may be interested in taking on interns. So, do rest assured that we are here to help you, and we will do whatever it takes in order to help you to get an internship or to support you in making sure that you get approved into the internal audit program, internal audit practitioner program. But of course, maybe some of you may feel confident enough to go straight into the CIA certification. Even if that is the case, we are still here to help you. We are here to help all our members. So, even if you're going to be a student member, we would be there to help you. So do make whatever efforts you need to, and do not hesitate to reach out in case we can be of any help. So how do you register for the exam? As mentioned, you have to do that over the CCMS, and then you have to also schedule your exam. So currently, this scheduling is done via Pearson View centers. The examinations take place at Pearson View centers. There is online testing which is happening. It's not an open textbook exam. So, basically you just have to go there and click on the MCQs on whatever you consider right. And you will be, I think, informed, within 24 hours, you should be knowing as to what your result was. And even as far as certification is concerned, we have a certification registry. That is also a question which we will be answering. So people ask what are the different syllabus categories which are there. So they are basically 5 domains. And, as I said, 100 questions overall, 2 hours of seat time. So if you can do about 25 questions in half an hour, I think you should be good. If you can do it in less than half an hour, well, you will have certain amount of time left for revision to check how you've done your answers. So the first domain, what we are talking about is the IPPF. I've already specified that, the difference between assurance and consulting services. What are the kind of personal attributes which you're supposed to possess as an internal auditor, whether it is independence or its objectivity or its competency, due professional care. So all these issues are taken up and you get to study these in the first domain of internal audit attributes. The second one talks a little more about risk and internal controls and fraud. So, what are the fundamental concepts? What is risk management all about? What are the different types of controls? What are the different control frameworks? Efficiency and effectiveness of internal controls, as well as fraud, which is a global problem seen as one of the top risks. Fraud is not going away. Maybe a lot of it is becoming digital fraud today. Earlier, it used to be physical fraud, but yes, fraud is not running away from us. So the more you know about fraud, the chances are, again, it will make you into a better internal auditor, probably a more cautious individual, which we all need to be today, especially with our data, so that it doesn't get misused or, you don't get taken advantage of. The third domain is engagement planning, which is how do you actually go about planning? I mean, normally you would think that it's not a big deal, but suppose you look at a scenario. I was conducting a training program last week for a company which has 100 internal auditors. So how do you put 100 internal auditors to work? So, there's a concept of an audit universe. What are the areas which need to be audited? What is the frequency with which it needs to be audited? Who is the right person? What are the competencies required to conduct the audit? It can become a fairly complex exercise if you're doing it correctly. So that is what you get to learn about. Also how to define what are the objectives of an engagement, what is the scope of an engagement, how do you evaluate whether things are functioning properly, as well as how can you provide assurance whether the key risks are being taken care of adequately with the proper controls which are in place, what kind of risk and control questionnaires and checklists are required, risk assessment for each area, as well as the engagement procedures and work program, and what kind of resources are required. So planning can be a fairly comprehensive exercise. Then of course you get to doing the actual audit. How do you do an internal audit? What are the risk implications? What are the controls? What are the different kind of controls in different lines of business? Can you use computerized audit techniques? How can you use data analytical techniques? How do you, I'm sorry, what kind of work papers do you maintain? How do you automate them? Can you have e-work papers, or do you want to keep physical work papers? How do you keep that documentation secure? How can you do process mapping, analytical techniques, random sampling, look at the KPIs and KRAs, key performance indicators, key result areas, to try to identify that are you in a position to provide assurance that things are working well in the areas which you are auditing? So that is as far as the work aspect is concerned. And then, of course, no assignment is complete unless you are able to communicate effectively, because all your effort has gone into making sure that you are submitting a good audit report. It could be in the form of a PPT. Sometimes you may write a one-pager. Sometimes you may have a presentation. Sometimes you may have a video conference, but you need to communicate. So what are the 7 sub-components of communication quality? Is what goes into effective and proper communications. And similarly, what are the elements of the communication or the report in terms of objectives, scope, recommendations, action plan, conclusions, etc. And how can you do it in a manner which adds value to the organization, to the area which you audited? And also, how do you describe? So basically, section 5 is on communication, engagement communication. So we are looking at these 5 domains, and we are covering internal audit issues, risk, controls, standards, interactive study material, 100 multiple choice questions, and of course, you have to complete your application form. As already mentioned, Pearson View centers are available for online testing, and of course, they're not just in India, they're available across the world. So how long is the exam? It's basically a 2-hour exam, 100 questions. This is important. How much time do you have to complete the exam? So you have 2 years to finish the Internal Audit Practitioner program from the date of getting approved into it. However, if you do not complete it, please understand why are you getting a chance to do the IAP so that you can complete it at the beginning of your career. And, with your internship, with your little bit of experience, you are then in a position to see whether this is an area which you would like to pursue. Definitely, I think, a lot of people in the profession, we have say 4,500 members, but we may be having something like 50,000 practicing internal auditors across the country, maybe twice that number. All of them agree that, it's a great profession to be in. There is a shortage of good professionals. And if you have a CIA certification, or if you have even an IAP certification, which allows you to go in for a CIA certification subsequently, there is a huge benefit in terms of improving yourself on a professional basis. As the last point over here states, that the IAP is not designed to be held indefinitely. So, after you get it within 3 years, it would lapse unless you decide to go in for the CIA certification, which is what you are being encouraged to do in the first place. But this is a great way to get started. So you become familiar with the concepts, You don't find the exam overwhelming. And, once you've done it and you've gained a certain amount of experience, then you'll certainly find that for you to sit for and clear the CIA certification exams, which you can do, one at a time. It's a 3-part exam. Of course, those of you who are ultra smart and ultra intelligent, and you have specific certifications like the Chartered Accountancy degree, you can even sit for the challenge exam and sit for it in one shot. So for the challenge exam is basically, I think, 150 questions over 3 hours. So obviously, even that would be very clear that the IAP is a much simpler exam to sit for. So at a relatively low investment, you can, very, very easily take a call on how you want to perform and how you, uh, which area you want to get into, which profession do you wish to pursue. So do you get a paper certificate? Not really. You would get a digital badge. You get a PDF, which if you want, you could take out and print. And of course, there's a link which is provided. I think even this particular deck would be available on our website. Otherwise, Mehnaz could make sure. Mehnaz could probably confirm right now. Mehnaz, I think we do have this on the website also. This PPT on the IAP. Mehnaz, are you there? Okay, but I'm reasonably sure it would be there. Otherwise, we'll make sure it could be placed in case we receive a request from any of you on our website, or even if you mail Chanchal or Mehnaz, then again, their names and email IDs and telephone numbers are available. So you could go ahead and take advantage of that and get your query sorted out. Do you want to be a part of a certification registry? Well, we keep an up-to-date record in that for people who earned any IIA certification. So once you provide evidence of your accomplishment, then definitely you could put it onto the certification. And, in case any headhunter is planning to employ you and wants to do a cross verification, it is definitely available. Can you apply for the CIA program? 100%. That's exactly what we would like you to do. But my suggestion is, as of now, first focus on the IAP, develop an interest, develop a certain amount of knowledge as far as internal auditing is concerned. Definitely, you will find that the CIA program after that will become so much easier for you to qualify and clear. So once you've started, you basically have 2 years to finish the internal audit practitioner program. However, I'm personally confident that those of you who are good, diligent, want to study hard, may even be able to sit for this exam within a couple of months. And you can then imagine how much additional time that allows you to look for internships. If you get those internships during your, say, summer vacations, suppose you are still in college, you can again imagine you get an opportunity to earn and learn at the same time. So it's a fabulous combination. And with an IAP, you can apply for the CA program, and you have 3 years after becoming an IAP to enroll in the CIA program. So remember, there's one thing for 2 years and one thing for 3 years. 2 years is to clear the internal audit practitioner exam. If you ask me, even 6 months is too much, but you may have existing commitments, work requirements, other examinations, college examination. So we are giving you a little more time to clear it. You have up to 2 years to do so and to gain some internships. And then, of course, once you've cleared it, then within 3 years, you can apply for the CIA program using your active IAP designation, which remains applicable for a span of 3 years. So quickly to review, this is what we have. 5 syllabus domains, which I've already highlighted to you, 2-hour exam, 100 multiple choice questions, online testing, 2 years to complete once you're approved into the program to complete your exams, and 3 years of active designation after passing, as well as to enroll into the CIA program. So, for those of you who may wish to make a note of this, I had told you about, Sandeep Chatterjee. Sandeep is our member services at iaindia.co, and coordination at iaindia.co is Chanchal. Then you also have coordinator at iaindia.co, which is Mehnaz, who's also, back-ending this program and supporting us as far as the Zoom link is concerned. So I think that brings me to the close of this particular. So I will stop sharing and let me see if I can also open up what all are the queries which have been received. So we've already addressed Swapna as well as Mandar. So Bhaskar requests the validity period of the IAP certificate. And I do hope, Bhaskar, that we've answered your question. To the best of my knowledge, there is no annual renewal or maintenance fees. But, certainly I would suggest that whoever is there should remain a member of the IIA so that it stays in place. Whether there are any specific CP requirements for maintaining your IAP designation. I have not seen them in the FAQs, but certainly it may be something which is worth checking in. So, Mehnaz, if you can just put in this query to Chanchal, and maybe we can go through the the certification guidelines book which we've got. We've got a 30-40 page book which is on certifications offered. And I think that would certainly have the answers as far as that is concerned. I won't be surprised if that is also available on our website. So Anurag Mittal asks that for self-employed people, can IIA India help in attesting the application by the CIA member? See, if you're self-employed, one would hope that you would be in touch with some person who is a CIA, or you have worked with some people who may be CIAs, but certainly you raised a slightly ticklish question, because you are supposed to be certified either by a supervisor or by a certified internal auditor. But what we could do is, we could try to find out, depending on where you're based, if we have any CIAs in the vicinity, we can put you in touch with them. Hopefully you can come out with a common friend, a common contact, so that someone can verify as far as your character reference is concerned. And so yes, so Anurag, you asked a second question that you're doing FOIA. FOIA is a Fundamentals of Internal Audit from IIA Australia online. I don't know whether you're aware, but the FOIA program is something which is also offered by IIA India. We have a tie-up with IIA Australia. I think you may find that the rupee value of the program, the rupee cost of the program may be much lower and may be worth your while, because IIA Australia has been quite kind with us, generous with us, where they have explained to us that where we have explained to them, and they have appreciated that the cost of if you look at purchasing power parity, then what you charge in Australian dollars may not be affordable for many people in India. So we requested them to allow us to do this program at a much lower rate. So in IIA India, if you do this program, I think it just costs you 15,000 rupees. So, definitely for people who are working in internal audit departments, you want to come up to speed very quickly on internal audits, you could do the Fundamentals of Internal Audit program. The beauty of the IAP is that if you're going to be, planning to do a CIA certification at a later date, then stick on an internal audit, then I would definitely recommend that the IAP could be more useful. Chances are that maybe 60 to 80% of the syllabus would be pretty similar. So So IIA India would not be able to, provide you with a character reference, because, character reference, Anurag, can only come from someone who knows you, not from someone who doesn't know you. And I think you will appreciate that. So really, if you have any specific query which you feel currently is not being answered, again, you can ask that program of that question of Chanchal. I do expect and hope you're a member, because normally we are there to support our members. But since you're also talking about the IAP, you could write to Chanchal, and if Chanchal does not have an answer, we could try to get you the answer from IIA Global. Duration of the exam, I've already clarified, 2 hours, 100 questions. Raja Patra has asked whether getting certified as an IAP, does one need to complete CIA? Absolutely not. You don't have to. You could just start off and go into the internal audit profession. Only thing is, it's recommended that you do the CIA, because your IAP certification is only going to last you for 3 years, after which you would not be able to use IAP after your name as a certification. So, it is time bound, because the idea is that within that much of time, and that's why it's also priced so comparatively, so that then, by that time, whether you're serious about internal audit or not. And certainly we would recommend that you do the CIA. You don't need to, but it's highly recommended. Do we get any exemption in the main CIA exams? No, not really. The exemption which you're getting, or the benefit which you're getting, Prateek, is the fact that you're getting a direct entry into the CIA because of the fact that you passed the IAP. What is the passing score? Good question, Mr. Anonymous. An anonymous attendee has asked this question. So I can't really say, but what I can tell you is that if I'm not mistaken, you need to get something like 80% in the exam for the CIA certification. So I would expect that it should be around the same, but certainly the level of complexity or the degree of difficulty of questions in the IAP, I expect would be much, much lower. So it should be easier to pass the IAP as compared to the CIA. And by the way, the CIA also is not a very easy exam to pass. But of course, it is much, I would say, easier if you look at the pass percentage in comparison to some of the other professional exams which we have in the country in these categories. Is IAP better for a cybersecurity auditor or a CISA? See, the point is, if you become an information systems auditor or a cybersecurity auditor, it is always good for you to have a knowledge of the fundamentals of internal audit. And Paramjit, basically the IAP gives you a lot of conceptual clarity. It makes you comfortable with the standards. It also allows you to identify how you can sit for these exams in the future. What is the kind of knowledge which you need to have? If you do it, you will understand that the IPPF is just 20 pages. I mean, I have already told you that, but everyone doesn't know it. So by focusing on some of these areas, certainly I would expect that you would be a much better auditor, and with much sounder clarity and foundational knowledge regarding what internal audit is all about. So I think it should help you to do your job better. It's not necessary, it's not essential, but certainly I would treat it as desirable. Whether clearing CIA level 1 is better than the IAP, well, I really can't say that, because I don't think I've tried to compare the two. So I'm not sure whether I can really answer this question or not. But yes, IAP, I think for many people who are there for the short term, would allow them to figure out whether they want to do this or not, whether they want to pursue the CIA or not. So, that is definitely there. Whereas clearing level 1 of the CIA, I think, would perhaps be more applicable when a person has already taken a decision to appear for the CIA. Let's also not forget, as I said, the IAP is for those people who may be going through this exam on a rotational basis, or for people who are sitting, still in college and, have that ambition that we want to do something extra. We want to take a choice on what we want to do in the future during our college itself, so that, if you've done your IAP and you've had a chance to get some internship exposure, by the time you are graduating, you are very, very clear that, yes, I would love to be an internal auditor. It gives me a bird's eye view of the organization. I get knowledge in multiple disciplines. I learn to be a better human being. They are, just some of the, quick fingertip related kind of feedbacks which I can give you. So, those are the advantages. Will there be remote proctoring option available? You see, point is you have to sit at at a Pearson View Center. So I don't know whether Anurag, whether that remote proctoring becomes applicable or not. I'm sure Pearson View also must be having some kind of remote proctoring, but I really don't think it's, proctoring becomes more critical if you're sitting for an exam on your own and you're, say, not supposed to be peering into another device or looking into another book which you've kept on the side. That is my understanding of proctoring. So I think if you're going to a Pearson View Center and sitting for that exam in an environment where there is some infrastructure, there is some security, there is some amount of monitoring which is happening, I don't think remote proctoring even becomes applicable or a question. So I think I've already answered your next question, Anurag. Anurag, you'll make a great internal auditor because internal auditors are supposed to ask lots of questions, and I see that's what you're doing. So I have no doubt you should be pursuing this seriously, and you'll do a great job. So you are certified fraud examiner and ACAMS and CAIIB. Can my IAP, I think I've already answered your questions regarding attestation for your character reference. And you've also spoken about the FOIA. So Shilpi is asking the same question with the clearing CI level 1 better than IAP. I've already answered. Whether it's equivalent to part 1, I've also answered. Do we need to rewrite the IAP post 3 years? I don't really think so, because by that time what would happen is if you decided to pursue the CIA, chances are you would already have had the necessary experience. So, why do you want to sit for that exam again, which is a kind of an entry-level exam for the internal auditor profession? You would be much better off sitting for the CIA. And internship for the IAP is not required. All I am suggesting in my personal capacity is that if you want to do internship, we would like to help you out for the simple reason that it would give you a combination of some practical exposure along with some theoretical exposure to my mind, that would help in increasing your market value. It would make you more employable. So I think these are all the questions which I have seen on the chat box. However, in case anyone else has any other questions, do feel free to ask. Otherwise, we've spent close to an hour. We started at 5 minutes past 4. We are at 2 minutes past 5. So in case anyone has any questions, do feel free to ask right now. Otherwise, what we could do is we could bring this particular program to a close, but we have a very dynamic chairperson in Sana Baqai who's looking after student learning. So believe you me, we are taking a lot of initiatives. For those people who are interested in the CIA certification, we've created a set of learning partners. We have 5 approved learning partners as on date. 3 of them are extremely active. We are planning to increase the number of learning partners. So those of you who don't have the time, you could attend these classes virtually also and prepare yourself for the internal audit program. So, that's one area. We are also planning to make things simpler for students. This particular program is one of those initiatives to teach you a little more about the IAP to enhance awareness levels. But for those of you who have friends who are already, say qualified chartered accountants or ACCAs, you could tell them that they could also sit for the challenge exam, which in one sitting allows you to become a CIA. For those who want a little more depth and stability, you can sit for the regular exam, especially if you're not a chartered accountant or ACCA. or from one of those 17 qualified accounting bodies, then you could just sit for the 3-part CIA exam, which anyway I think is wonderful in terms of getting the CIA certification and making you a lot more comfortable, because since you're doing it over a period of time, definitely, you will be that much stronger as far as your foundational and theoretical base would be. So Sana, I think we are through. In case you want to have any closing comments from your side, Sana.
Yes, sir. I hope all the questions by the participants are duly answered by Nikhil, sir. And thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful session on IAP, giving a brief insight on how people can take it forward as a qualification. So any question left from the participants?
Anyway, we still have, say, another 30 seconds for those of you who want to ask questions. But as I told Anurag, being a good internal auditor means having the ability to ask a lot of questions. And let me assure you, Sana can also ask a lot of questions herself. So learn to keep those questions flowing. And I can assure you that you will also learn to become better internal auditors. So thank you so much for your participation. I hope you are a little more knowledgeable about the IAP now than before you started, before you attended this particular program. And in case you have any further queries, we've already given you those links. Those links are also there on the IIA India website, iiaindia.co. So, do feel free to reach out to us. We would be more than happy to support you in any way which is possible. I noticed one attendant, someone has got their hands up. Okay, that's Anurag Mittal. So I think we already answered a lot of questions for Anurag. But if you still have your hand up, or if you still have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, Anurag. Otherwise, I think I've tried to answer most of your queries.
No, sir, it's okay. Thanks. It was raised earlier. You have already answered. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. So anyone else, we are happy to unmute you. Otherwise, wish you all the very best. Thank you for attending our program. And I do hope that many of you are now motivated to sit for your IAP, and certainly make sure that you share this information about the IAP, about it being a course which can get you started off on a great professional career with all your friends who are in college and who have not yet decided. Even if they've decided, I would strongly recommend that they consider this also as a way to do something more. So I noticed there's one more hand up of Rashmin. So Rashmin, would you like to ask any question, please?
Sir, actually, sorry, I was late to join this, but can I get your contact number? Because basically I'm a mechanical engineering and project management professional, and recently joined the internal audit at Tata Chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I was late to join this session. So can I?
So Rashmin, you could also ask your, Chief Audit Executive, Mr. Satyajit. We are doing a separate program for Tata Chief Audit Executives as well as nominees. So you could ask Mr. Satyajit to, nominate you for this program. It's going to be hybrid, so virtual as well as physical. I mean, primarily hybrid. Sorry, it's going to be virtual. So it's happening on the 24th. So, I'm sure Satyajit Ghoshal would be more than happy to share the details of this program.
Actually, he is right now at our Meetapur manufacturing complex, and he is along with me. And
Perfect.
To
So,
to facilitate him, actually, I missed this opportunity to attend this session.
Okay. No issues. But you can speak with Mr. Satyajit.
Okay.
He'll be happy to give you these queries. Okay.
Thank
so
you.
do join
Thank
us on the 24th.
Okay.
And I think I think Sana will also make sure after this discussion that we will have this PPT also put up on the website. So, between you and me, Rashmin, I think it answers almost all the questions which people have. That is why we call them FAQs. But if despite that you have anything, you can feel free to, reach out to any of the people who are registered on, whose names and email IDs are registered on the IIA India website, right?
So, Sanaji, can I get this PPT on my email ID, Sanaji?
I just want to add one thing. You will get the recording of today's session on
Okay.
IIA India YouTube channel, which is the
Okay.
official channel of IIA India. We'll keep
Okay.
you posted for the PPT and the YouTube link to all the participants who are registered for today's session. I'll make
Thank-
sure that we'll get it over email.
Oh, thank
And,
you.
FAQ is already available on our website
Okay.
under IAP.
Thank you, Chanchal. And again, for those of you who feel that you have students and friends in college who need more information, who may find this information useful, you people are the first people who we are addressing on a kind of an open platform as far as the IAP is concerned. So do feel free to share it with the others. I have been in this profession for more than 35 years. And I certainly do find that it has helped me a huge amount personally. I've been able to grow as an individual, as a professional, and I'm sure that sharing this knowledge about the IAP with other colleagues, there is a huge demand and there's a huge shortage of internal audit professionals in this country for sure, and actually across the world. So if you share this, you may positively be in a position to influence someone's professional career and journey in life in a positive manner. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best and look forward to hearing from many of you that you're going ahead with the IAP program. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. As we come to the end of this webinar, I would like to extend thank each and every one of you for taking the time to participate and engage with us. I hope you found this webinar informative, useful, and enjoyable. We had some great discussions and insights from Nikhel sir today, and I believe we all gained a lot of valuable knowledge on IAP. Hope you are getting interest and will consider this as one of the qualifications you would like to add in your CV. I also encourage you to stay connected with us and with each other through various channels on social media, YouTube, etc. for all the future webinars. In case if you're having any issue, you can write it to us on the official email IDs, which is available on the website. Or Nikhil sir has already displayed his email ID. Chanchal is there to answer your queries related to IAP. In case you're facing any kind of challenge in that, I once again thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you again in our future events. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.